let's phase 3 of our interview here today. We debated a little bit in the break here in between, but I really am curious. So the two of you have something that I've talked to other people who've practiced hypnotism. In fact, they're full-time hypnotists. And what I sense that you all have that I didn't see in some others is this sense of confidence that when a client approaches you, like the lady who had the stenosis, and you're like, I don't know, but I heard you say, if not us, who? And if not now, when? Right?
Yeah.
You're willing in confidence to go there with her and just to see what result you get. How much do you think that confidence that you have as a hypnotherapist or a hypnotist, how much do you think that affects the outcome for the client?
I think a lot. I think first you can explain it as waking hypnosis. When the client asks you, can you cure this? Can you fix this? If you answer, let me think, that may not be good. But if you said, sure, we do it all the time. So that's one answer that you can tell the client that you are comfortable with doing solving this problem, and also he will trust you even more. So that's a waking hypnosis, and that will help you with your real session.
So let me make sure I understand that, because that was fascinating what you just said. So waking hypnosis is basically me, while I'm not yet into trance, going with, it's like I explore. I go, he can, so I can. So I've actually gone out to kind of that semi-trancey state that comes into the unconscious level that says, oh, here's a rope I can grab, right? Here's a potential answer, right? So it helps me be more ready for the trance?
Yes, this could be that. Waking hypnosis is like you hypnotize someone without telling them or without them going into a state
to be relaxed.
Yes, to be relaxed.
Like
if you have you have a small daughter or not daughter, but like 3 or 4 years old.
Right.
And she tripped over and hurt her knees, and then she cried.
Right.
And then you said to her, come here, I'll kiss you, and then you will be good.
Feel better?
And then you kiss her, she will feel good.
Because
that
you,
is hypnosis.
as
that
the mother
waking.
in confidence said, oh, when I kiss it, it'll go away.
Yes.
And she goes, oh, yes. Because little children at that 3 or 4, they live in a state of trance, right?
Yes,
Because they don't have that left faculty, that judger that says, oh, no, that won't work.
Yes, this is waking hypnosis.
Waking hypnosis.
And also, if you are a doctor, you say to the patient that, wow, this is so easy, we do that all the time, and the patient will be good again.
I think that's a risk we also have a lot of times with Western medicine is they don't tell you that. They tell you you're going to die, and here's how long you have to live. That's a waking hypnosis death sentence, basically. It could be.
Yes.
And also you have advertisement, that is all waking hypnosis. Because just now we talked about allergy, and you have medicine or pills advertisement all the time. You said the hay fever season is coming, you should buy this to prevent
so I'm
allergy.
programmed to go have hay fever.
Yeah.
Because I've been told it's coming.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
Because in China we don't have this kind of
you don't allow that
advertisement.
kind of advertising.
So that's why I seldom hear of this.
Let me ask you a question. I think that's fascinating. I think that's a great aha for a lot of folks. What brainwave pattern do you know that we're in when we're in trance, when we're in hypnosis?
Well, this is the difference between omni-hypnosis and almost all other hypnosis.
Is the brainwave that you're in?
Yes, because we don't believe in it.
Really?
We think you can be in every kind of brainwave when you are in hypnosis, and also when you are in hypnosis, you can
through suggestion you can tell the
be
client
in
to be in any kind of brainwave.
So
it's not related.
It's not related.
We think that as beginning in the beginning it was just used by
feedback.
In the biofeedback technique, that you have a machine attached to your head to try to tell you how to relax, but somehow some psychologist or somebody put this thing into hypnosis, and they say that is very scientific, and you should measure their brainwave to determine whether they're in deep
Alpha or
hypnosis.
theta or yeah.
To some extent, it is right. To some extent.
To some extent.
Because you have
but
to
it's
have
not
all ranges, and what
Yes.
you're saying is that you could have somebody who's say
in beta.
high beta, they're a very hyperactive person,
Mm.
but you
Yeah.
can still be in a
Like
waking
if
state.
if you are using hypnosis, like the waking hypnosis, you tell your daughter that she will be okay when I kiss you,
Mhm.
and then that little girl is not in any kind of brainwave.
Alpha, theta.
Yeah, because
delta.
you're always, I mean, beta has to be like something like 30% of the brainwave. I mean, a healthy brainwave has all the patterns running through it.
Yeah.
So you don't need have any brainwave. You need.
Interesting.
Yeah.
The reason I ask that is, you hear the thought that when you're watching television and you see
Yes.
people do, they get very focused. So it's not so much about brainwave. So it's not like, oh, you're an alpha and theta. It's that your attention is focused.
Mhm.
Because
Yes.
you've seen that, right? TV's
This is
on, you
some-
walk in the room, you talk to somebody, and they don't even hear you
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
they're focused on the
Yes,
television.
this is
And it's
some
that focus
kind
that
of, yes.
causes the.
Concentration of the mind.
So that's the hypnotic suggestion that we can
Yes.
get through commercial advertising.
Yes.
So you don't see hay fever as often in China? Because you don't allow that
No.
kind of advertising? So do you think that, this is kind of a interesting question, but in the US, we have a prevalence of diseases, right? I mean, almost every American's got something. How much, do you actually think that a lot of that is just the program that we get out of the programming we watch?
Sure.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure. Because I came to America several times. When I watch television, there's advertisement everywhere talking about pills that you should buy, you should prepare it for a certain disease. And
Yep.
immediately I
don't.
know that is hypnosis. But
That is
those people
interesting.
don't know it's hypnosis.
They don't. You're absolutely correct.
Actually, we don't call that hypnosis. We call
Because
that
that makes
negative suggestions.
Yeah. Because we should not, I think we should not attach hypnosis to that advertisement because it's not what hypnotists do
No.
are doing. It's the marketing people that are doing that.
They are. So you made a comment that it's negative suggestions.
Everybody is making suggestions all the time. Like if you're a teacher, you tell your students, "Why you're so lucky? You are so stupid." That is a suggestion.
That
We may
is a
not call that
And
hypnosis, but
No.
it is a suggestion. It is a negative suggestion.
And they're very deep.
And you can get them from a A+ student to who can.
It's where
flunk.
most of our insecurities came from, were negative suggestions, weren't they?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Which
if
then
you-
becomes a program that you run at an unconscious level.
Yes, so if you want your child or want your children to be better at school, encourage them.
Encourage
to do,
them.
Yes.
So would a positive suggestion, that's not so a negative suggestion is something that takes away your power versus a positive suggestion, something that
Yes.
enables you,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
And I see that. I'll see parents and their little girl will go like this and, oh, she's so shy. And I'm thinking, why do you keep saying that to her?
Yeah.
I saw a mother
That
there,
is-
3 times she said, oh, she's so shy. And I'm like, oh, that's like a curse on your child.
Yes.
But we don't realize that.
Mhm.
I think that's the thing, is that we need to think about how, with that young child,
But
who's in
when
a
you
very open sponge learning state,
Yes.
absorbs all of that.
Especially when they are very young.
And I think we as adults still do that. I mean, we take things in.
Yeah.
So the negative suggestions still,
You look in the mirror and you say that I'm getting fat. I'm getting fatter, that kind of thing. All negative suggestions.
all negative suggestions. I'm going to start saying myself as skinny now.
But you need to believe it.
Yes, you do. You
Yes.
do. It's
Yes.
not just, you can't fake it till you make it. It's a matter of
So
Believe.
owning that and believing
So
it.
you see people use hypnosis all the time, but they don't know they're using hypnosis. And people even say hypnosis is fake hypnosis is crackery or something. But actually hypnosis does work, and you have been doing that all your life.
And also hypnosis is not mind control
It
because
isn't.
you need to have a cooperation. You
Yeah.
need to have rapport with them so that you can hypnotize them and help them to heal. Without that, you cannot just force them into hypnosis.
If I can force you to do anything, then if you have cancer, I'll force you to be healed.
Right. Yeah, and it's not it was interesting. I was watching a video that I bought by a stage hypnotist, and he talked about the difference. And he said, some people will ask, he said, how do you take people up and supposedly they don't want to do what they do on stage? And he says, you have to realize the very act of walking up to say I'm willing to be on stage is a consent.
Yes.
They will tell you they don't want to be, but then they'll walk right up there.
Mm-hmm.
And so they've already given, at a conscious and an unconscious level, agreement that yes, I'm willing to go there.
Yes, and also those audiences who come up to participate in the stage hypnosis, they are very willing to do that, and so they can do all kinds of
things that they won't normally do in their
gestures,
normal job
maybe.
But there's
like
something
that.
inside that's like, yeah, I'm
Yes,
willing to let that out.
And also,
And use the excuse that I was in trance.
Before we did some stage hypnosis, and a guy up there didn't do one thing we asked him to do, that is to dance, and then later he said he doesn't want to.
Yeah, you cannot make
all
someone
the other
do
things.
right.
Yes, all other things he did it very, very good.
Yes.
But dance he chose not to.
Yeah, and this stage hypnotist said the same thing, is that he puts people through a series of tests to find out those who are going to be the greatest show, because they're willing to go there. So that, they'll, and to his point, you could make somebody rob a bank through hypnosis, because if their moral code says that's wrong, they're not going to cross that.
Yes,
Yeah.
and we think that if you can use hypnosis to guide someone to do something so-called evil, it is because that person, without hypnosis, you can
Would have done it.
Yes, would have done it.
Would have done it.
Yeah, and in some news, reporters would like to report the news that very negative news. The people were robbing banks because they were hypnotized, but actually that's not true. Those people must have taken some drugs or that kind of thing to be forced to do that. They will not be hypnotized to do that.
And
I think that's an important distinction, because people will relate hypnotism and brainwashing, and they're very, very different, because it requires chemistry change, deprivation. There's a lot that has to happen for brainwashing. Hypnotism is, to the point we said earlier,
a lot of
is a
people would
duet.
think
I'm
that
cooperating.
a lot of people would think that a hypnotist can control you to do something that you don't want. Actually, if you some they may say that if you're a hypnotist, you can hypnotize a girl to make the girl like you or fall in love with you. But if you really can, if a hypnotist does do that, it is only because the girl has already fallen in love with you.
Yep, that makes sense.
Mhm.
That absolutely. Because again, you're doing it with permission. They're fully conscious as they're going through the process.
And also, we think that if the hypnosis right now is much more powerful than before 50 or 60
Why do you think
years.
that is? Is it because more people accept it? There are better practitioners, better techniques? Why is it more powerful now than 50 years ago?
Because things are evolving,
Ah.
and hypnosis is more powerful than you think.
And also, I
I
think
think we're beginning to understand the power of the patterns that we accept in our lives.
And also,
And that then opens them up.
yes,
And also,
like-
since 60 years ago or so, I don't know, because 76 years ago, General Kine was born, Omni Hypnosis Training Center founder of Omni Hypnosis Training Center. And he has developed the technique so great from development, and then he has trained many great hypnotists. All of those students have become masters in the field, and they have developed other new techniques, which is also changing the field.
So if I'm not in China, can't come see the two of you, and I decide this is great, there's a few things I'd really like to take care of with hypnosis, because I've always known they're an emotional underlie. I just need to go in there and help me, dig those out, help me address those. What would you recommend I do to find a hypnotist? That can work
Actually,
with me, a
if you want to
hypnotherapist?
find an Omni hypnotist,
Yeah.
you should go to omnifinder.net. Omnifinder.net. You can find all around the world hypnotists,
around the
Omni hypnotists.
That's great.
But because that network right now, if you want to find Chinese Omni hypnotists, you have to go to www.niefei.com, which is our names.
Oh, wonderful.
www.niefei.com to find Chinese Omni hypnotists.
All right, and we will put that at the bottom of our YouTube page as well, both
Thank
the
you.
Thank you.
Omni Hypnosis as well as yours. I wish you taught it in English. I'd come take it from the two of you. Love to visit China. Go to Beijing.
You're welcome.
And also, we really want a lot more people to know the real hypnosis, because a lot of hypnotists don't even know the real hypnosis.
Yeah, and what you can do with someone once they're in that deep
Yes,
state.
and also because hypnosis can do a lot of things for a person, like to help them to study better grades. Wow, that is so great.
That would be fabulous. Think about every child in school
Yes,
if
I
they were
had-
taught how to have the confidence that I can learn easily.
I had a client before, a little girl, like 8 or 9 years old. I had hypnotized her like maybe 3 or 4 times. Her grade doubled.
Double.
Because
From
one
a below 50, I think, to 90 or something.
Okay, so I think let me. Now I'm going to pause here because I think I'm fascinated with that, and here's where I go with that. So you tell me if I'm on track. Anything I've ever seen, experienced, even if in the flash of the eye, is in my unconscious. It is somewhere in my sense. So what I've heard is that yes, if you've never studied, will hypnotism help you get the answer? No, but if I've ever studied it, it's there. It's
Yes.
just how well and how easily do I access the information. So what you're saying is you can take that student who's willing to apply themselves and make it easy through hypnotism, right, for them to access that data bank basically in their mind to recover the information.
Not only to recover it, but
And
also
integrate it?
yeah, but also when they are learning or studying in the class, we can make the students to learn it better, to become more focused,
to
to
pay
learn
more
it better.
attention.
So that
Yes.
their attention
Yes.
is focused in.
Yes, like if a student have ADD,
Right.
you can use hypnosis to make him not ADD.
Right. How about ADHD? Because to me they're
Yeah,
different.
it's the
They're-
same for
Just
us.
they
same-
can look a
same
lot,
thing.
but they're a
Actually,
little
it
bit
is
different.
just what is it called? It is just a name.
It is just a label. It's just a label.
a label.
Yep.
Yes.
And who cares about the label if you can get in and find the cause and find the solutions?
And also
And
a
they're all
lot
there.
of times the ADHD or ADD problem is often caused by the parents.
Really?
Yes.
Just
Maybe.
because of their
It's changed the parents and the
And the
There's
child,
the
child will, yes.
We always say that animals, a sick animal change the human, the animal shifts. We
Yes,
share
yes.
that same space, right? So sometimes it's that same family link or
And
causal
also,
link.
not only the study
Fascinating.
thing, and also since these days the Olympic Games, we can use hypnosis to help the athletes to
Improve.
do much greater.
Because they can,
they can shoot more accurate.
What? Yes. Just like you, if we hypnotize you and you have never shoot before, we can hypnotize you, then
To be an excellent shooter, you can.
you may not be the top in the world, but you
You're
can
gonna
be
be-
much better.
well, they talk about that with being able to do mental exercise. So that, the old story you hear about basketball, they break them
Yes.
into 3 groups. One just thinks about shooting baskets, one goes and practice, and the other does nothing.
Uh-huh.
And you get almost the same improvement
Yes.
between those who
That is-
practice and those
that's
who
great.
visualize.
Yes,
Yeah.
that is
So
true.
basically, you're kind of going into this area where you're visualizing every move. What you're saying is you could have taken another group, hypnotized them on how to play basketball, and they probably would have beat.
And also, if 2 basketball teams are equal, or they have the same competence skills, we can hypnotize one team and make the team more confident, and also
They
have more power
More
when
power.
they do that. So
Yeah, because they're focusing the energy behind, where they're sending the ball, right?
so you can make a lot more gold medal.
So China's going to take over all of that winning, right? Because you guys are in China.
Right now,
Start
I
working
think
with the Olympic teams.
a lot of
That Olympic diver, that ending men's, that was
yeah.
amazing. He was amazing.
But I don't think the athletes in China know.
Not many
About-
people know
yeah.
about hypnosis, much less hypnosis, much less hypnosis can do sports things.
Because most hypnotists, not only in China but also in the world, don't do that good.
Right.
Oh.
Well, I'm going to have to check out Hypnosis. It was one of the things on my to-do list was to learn hypnosis.
www.omnihypnosis.com.
Oh, thank you. It's been such a pleasure to meet you both
Thank you.
and to spend the weekend and today and this time with you. So thank you so much for sharing your
You're
experience and opening our eyes to the power of hypnotism and hypnosis and what we can do with that to change our lives. Appreciate it.
welcome. Thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.